Hello everyone, I'm Cloud and welcome to Anime No Mi. Today, finally following with the One Piece videos here on the channel, we'll talk about Luffy's biggest power evolution coming from a battle, new powers he achieved by facing someone more powerful than himself, and how and why it all happened. After all, the Straw Hat has always been surpassing itself precisely when it finds someone who has a power that makes it difficult in combat. So I really count on your help to leave your like in the video, with that you help the channel a lot. I'm also counting on you to sign up if you're new here. And now, let's go to the video. Guys, as I said, Luffy evolved a lot after facing battles against enemies that he believed he had won or escaped by an apparent luck, enemies that he felt that to really face he would need more power, so he developed new techniques or evolved the ones he already had. So now we will analyze the sagas, more specifically the battles that motivated Luffy to become stronger or the ones he demonstrated his power to surprise his opponents and try to defeat them. So let's go straight to Enies Lobby. In fact, we have to talk about Alabasta and also Skypiea. After all, it was the events there that made Luffy show the greatest evolution in his power after the moment we met him in the manga. Basically, when it came to the Grand Line, Luffy had only met some powerful enemies who in this case were members of Baroque Works. They fought some initially difficult battles, but the story was only really different when Luffy met the leader of that organization. When Luffy had to face Crocodile, at the time a Shichibukai, he was able to understand the difference in their powers and witnessed more than one defeat until he managed to find a way to face him, and in the end, with extreme difficulty, manage win almost at the cost of your life. With that, Luffy already knew he needed to get stronger, he needed to get more power to protect his crewmates. It turns out that shortly after that, following his adventure, he ended up entering another battle against someone of frightening power. Luffy went to Skypiea. In that place he ended up in front of Enel's companions who gave them some ordeals, and at that moment Luffy faced the Haki of Observation. They're called the Mantra, where no matter how fast he tried to attack, all his movements were predicted and prevented, which became even bigger when he faced Enel himself. In that battle, Luffy was once again facing a Logia user, and thus could be at a disadvantage if he wasn't a rubber boy. Even so, that was a difficult battle until the moment his victory happened, and with that he moved forward. Luffy then continued to face his battles until we finally reached Enies Lobby, where he was at that moment declaring himself an enemy to Sekai Sifu and facing CP9. There Luffy revealed that with everything he had been through he had realized that he needed to get stronger. It was then revealed to us the existence of Gear, and thanks to these battles I mentioned with you, Luffy created Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd powers that we know greatly amplify Luffy's attributes thanks to his rubber body, but using any one of the techniques had side effects for the Straw Hat. However, after that, we advance and advance until we finally reach the New World, where Luffy discovered that the powers he had encountered on the islands he had gone with his companions did not represent the true powers of the Grand Line, and there he saw how the forces were different. After all, when he arrived at the Sabaody Archipelago, which was basically the border with the New World, he already came across enemies that had frightening powers, where Luffy had the experience of losing all his companions after trying to escape from Kizaru, and then they ran into one more time with Bartholomew Kuma, who sent each of them to a different location. Not only that, on the island of Amazon Lily where Luffy ended up, he found out a bit about Haki, even though he didn't understand anything about its workings. But the real battle came next. Luffy once again faced the Sekai Sifu, but this time fighting everyone. He faced the greatest powers in an attempt to save his older brother, Portgas d'Ace. It was there that Luffy witnessed the powers of the admirals, were even trying to face them face to face. The Straw Hat Pirate realized he had no power to face those enemies. That's because it was to Akainu that he ended up losing his brother. Akainu took Ace's life and also tried to do the same with Luffy. However, after the end of this battle, Luffy starts to train alongside Silver's Rayleigh, an old companion of Go D. Roger. Rayleigh teaches him how to use his powers so that he can at least fight, so that events like Marineford don't happen again, so that Akainu can't do what he did again. Luffy then completely mastered his two previous gears to the point where he no longer had any visible side effects. He even learned Busashoko Haki to be able to increase his strength and also face Logia users, like Akainu himself. He also learned to use the Mantra, or rather the Haki of Observation, and finally, he managed to master the power of the Chosen Ones that had awakened in him, the Conqueror's Haki. Techniques he introduced soon after his return. But it was in the arc of Dressrosa that Luffy presented another power resulting from all this training for the first time, showing his evolution in his battle against Doflamingo, another Shichibukai. Previously Luffy improved his Devil Fruit, which was the power he possessed, creating second and third gear, but now the Devil Fruit was not his only power. He possessed the Haki, and uniting the power of his Haki with his Devil Fruit, he created his fourth gear. We see then that in the big fight against Doflamingo, he exhibited the first form of his gear. Luffy started to use the Bound Man form, the form where he needs to bounce while facing his opponent, and his blows, in addition to being more agile, are also all strengthened by power of the Busashoko Haki that was now in his arms and legs, greatly increasing his stamina as well. But as I mentioned, this battle brought to us the Boundman form, but this is not the only form of Luffy with Gear 4th. We know his second evolution in another fight, this time now in the arc of Whole Cake, facing Charlotte Cracker, one of Big Mom's sons and commanders. After Luffy eats several cookies, Luffy's form changes completely, and with this transformation presented in this confrontation, he ends up becoming much more resistant. After all, he covered almost his entire body with his Busashoko Haki, besides his physical also becoming much stronger. However, this was not the battle in which Luffy showed his greatest evolution and transformation of his fourth gear. After all, he faced a great Big Mom general, Charlotte Katakuri, bringing one of the most striking confrontations in Mugiwara's entire trajectory. It was in this confrontation that Luffy showed Gear 4th in Snakeman form, where Luffy increases the size of his body to become more agile and directs his Busashoko Haki, strengthening fewer areas but focusing on those he will use to strike his enemies. When he presented this form, Luffy became faster, but the most important thing is how he becomes able to completely control his rubber punches even after they have been launched. Luffy was now able to not only change the direction of their attacks and controlling them, but it went far beyond. In this form, Luffy was able to also control the intensity of this attack, the strength that he would advance, and also even increase his speed after having already launched his attack, almost guaranteeing that he would actually hit his opponent. However, this was not the last battle that made the Straw Hat evolve, because recently Luffy used Gear 4th against Kaido and had his resistance broken with a single move. From then on, he started to think about how he could beat the Yonko. That's when he met Ryu. Upon discovering how Wano used the Busashoko Haki, which was different from what he was used to, Luffy began to believe that he could actually go through Kaido's unstoppable resistance. After all, there was internal destruction in that technique. To face Kaido, then Luffy started to train this way of using the skill, managing to learn to use the Haki emission, hitting his opponent without even actually having contact with him, as well as knowing how to transmit his energy with Haki hitting from inside the opponent's body outwards. But it wasn't the only evolution. That's because after that, Luffy still did the same thing as Kaido, strengthening his body with his Conqueror's Haki, making his attacks much more powerful, to the point of even being able to throw and take down the Yonko. And now, returning to the confrontation against Kaido, Luffy demonstrated that he already understands how his new way of using Haki works. He already understands how to use the advanced form of the Conqueror's Haki, and with that, we saw that during chapter 10:26, the powers of Luffy and Kaido are on a similar level when the Conqueror's Haki clash. Remembering that this last power was used by the King of Pirates, and these techniques were apparently the height of his powers, with his advanced use of the Conqueror's Haki, he was able to face Edward Newgate using the same Haki. But Newgate also needed to use his Devil Fruit power, as the King of Pirates only used the strength of his Haki, showing that this power can become strong enough to be considered the highest point of strength in One Piece. And these were Luffy's most remarkable battles that brought him a great evolution in his power. But comment there in the video, among all these, which do you think made him more powerful? Don't forget to leave your likes in the video to help the channel, and also subscribe if you're still new here. The channel is new and needs your help. Thank you so much for watching our video so far. Your support is very important. See you in the next video. Bye.